Hello adventurers and welcome back to Underdark Cellars. Today we're wrapping up all things Dungeon Meshi episode 4 by making the entire meal that accompanied the plundered bread at the end of the episode. Let's dive right in and get started, shall we? When I saw this dish on screen for the first time, I immediately thought that looks like Pav Bhaji. That's something that my friend Ritu introduced me to and I've been hooked on ever since. It's so delicious. And so I'm following a recipe from Cook with Manali. She is an Indian woman. She has a blog. She has a lot of fun vegetarian and vegan recipes, and this is absolutely delicious. But I went ahead and added some mashed lentils to it, so it's more of like a dal bhaji, but it's not a total dal bhaji. Anyway, we're also making ourselves some like 2-ingredient flatbread. This is not naan, okay? This is not an authentic naan. We're making like a Greek yogurt flatbread. It's super easy, basically foolproof, and you don't have to worry about it like turning out well, but we're going an Indian inspired route. So thank you to Ritu and thank you to Cook with Manali for this wonderful recipe. I'll link that in the description below. But basically I marinated the chicken in yogurt and spices in the description below, and then I cooked it at 450 for about 45 minutes. The dough I'm separating into 8 equal chunks that we're going to roll out into about a 6 to 8 inch disc, and we're going to cook that for about a minute to a minute and a half on each side until it's nice and bubbly, and we're going to set those off to the side in a towel to keep warm while we cook everything else. These you need to roll out really, really thin, and they're gonna be a little sticky because it's a yogurt based bread, but it'll turn out fine. You just don't worry about it. Once the chicken wings have reached 165 degrees Fahrenheit and they're gorgeous and golden on the outside, we're going to let them cool and work on the bhaji. So we're going to put some butter. I chose ghee because it has a higher smoke point. It also, because it's clarified, it's had those milk solids removed so that you're not going to have to worry about the butter browning. So you're not going to get like a burnt toasty flavor while this is cooking. Once the ghee and oil come up to temperature, we're going to toast our cumin seeds and let those cook for about 1 minute to 2 minutes until they're nice and fragrant and start to pop a bit. And we're going to add in 2 medium red onions that we've really finely chopped. Cook with Manali actually recommends that we blend or put them in a food processor so we get a really consistent texture, and I agree with that. So I went ahead and did that. Now I'm going to start working on the cabbage for the slaw. In the anime, it looks like there's some cabbage stuffed inside of the flatbread, but if you're like me and you're really sensitive to heat, we're going to create like a nice creamy coleslaw to sit inside of that flatbread. To the onions, once they get nice and golden, we're actually going to add 7 cloves of garlic, a 2-inch knob of ginger, 2 green chilies, and 1 Fresno chili that we have seeded and sliced and blended together. Once that's cooked down for about a minute, we're going to add in our chopped tomatoes. I'm moving on to chopping some cilantro and mint for the coleslaw that I'm making. I'm going to add some cumin to that. Once the tomatoes have cooked down, we're going to add in our tomato puree and a little bit of water and season with salt. And we're going to cover this and let this cook for about 6 minutes. I'm going to continue working on the coleslaw by adding in the juice of 1 lime and add in some plain yogurt along with some Greek yogurt for the protein. Now this is kind of a cross between a coleslaw and raita and tzatziki. It's kind of in the middle of all 3. It just will have a nice cooling effect with all those herbs and spices, and I thought it would add some body to the cabbage. We're also going to add in a clove of garlic, and we're going to mix that together until it's nice and creamy, and we're going to set that aside until we're ready for assembly. After about 6 minutes, we're going to add in our spices, starting with Pav Bhaji masala because I'm not about to mess this up. Kashmiri red chili. We're going to add in chili powder, some salt, a pinch of sugar to balance out the tinniness from the tomato sauce, and our dried fenugreek leaves, and we're going to give that a stir. At this point, we're going to add in our boiled vegetables. Now, when I made this with Ritu, we just cooked it really low and slow, but Cook with Manali recommended that we boil them before we mash them to help, break things down. I also added in the lentils that I had cooked and mashed before because I didn't want any of those husks. We're going to use our immersion blender to break up the big chunks, let it simmer for a little bit, and there she is. So we're going to add in the remainder of our butter, our cilantro that we chopped, and the juice of 1 lemon. Give her a mix, and there she is. Can we take a moment to appreciate how beautifully this turned out? A huge thank you to Manali Singh, who runs Cook with Manali. I will link this recipe down below. Check out her website, give her some love. This was absolutely delicious, and I strongly encourage you to make this recipe. Also, a huge thank you to my friend Ritu, who first introduced me to Pav Bhaji. I would not have thought about this connection if it weren't for you. So thank you so much for sharing your culture with me and educating me and inspiring me. This was absolutely delicious. I know in the anime that there are peppers and onions and chilies on top. I think that's more to emphasize what's inside it, but this was deliciously spicy, not too overwhelming, so good, and it paired really well with the coleslaw that I put together along with the flatbread. Those were fine little accoutrements to this, but I think the star of this was the Pav Bhaji. I don't know whether I should call it a dal bhaji because it's not solely based around lentils, so feel free to correct me in the comments with that, but I think I'm just going to call it Pav Bhaji for now. Thank you so much for sticking around to this point. If you like what you saw, smash that like button. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave those down below. And I love to chat with you and get your feedback. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and ring that bell for notifications so you know when new videos go live, and that is it. So adventurers, take care of yourselves. Please do something nice for someone else. I would love to hear about ways that you have served others in your community in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.